Hello everyone, Carlos Toro here, and I'm joined by Dominic and Marques Valle, who are fighting this Friday on March 12th in Plant City, Florida, on the undercard of Boxeo Telemundo. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Doing great.
You know, first question to both of you, and start with Dominic. What does it mean for the both of you to get the chance to share a car now as professional boxers, especially with Dominic making his pro debut? Dominic, I'll start with you, and then Marques, you follow after.
I mean, it's a dream come true. You know what I mean? We've like imagined this since as long as I can remember, and to get the opportunity to do it together, it's unreal.
Yeah. Us boxing together that's been the way we live, every day. So to be able to do it on a pro level is amazing.
And I'm guessing you guys this will not be the first time you guys share a card together. I'm guessing you guys are going to be stuck to the hip fighting together as pros for quite a while.
Yes, that's the plan. That's the plan. That's what we hope for.
Dominic, you're making your pro debut this weekend. How excited are you to finally, say, you graduated from the amateurs and now you get to call yourself a pro boxer?
I mean, it's what I dreamed of. You know what I mean? I fought in the amateurs. When I started boxing, I didn't really know anything about the amateurs. I started watching Miguel Cotto and just picture myself where he's at. That's just been the goal. So to finally start it after 8 years of just hard work and just being under the radar, I couldn't ask for anything more.
Do you sort of have any butterflies, or are you feeling extra emotional or feeling anxious with this being your first fight as the pros? How was it going through the fight week, or like, I guess we're entering fight week, but how has sort of been the days leading up to this fight? Has it felt any different compared to when you were a pro?
I'm more relaxed now than I was when I was an amateur. I know all the hard work I put in, and now it's just time for me to show the world what I've been waiting to show them.
Marques, last time you fought your pro debut, you only needed, I think, like 93 seconds to win your pro debut. I mean, how did it feel to sort of get that first win under your belt and doing so in an impressive fashion, in a very quick fashion, I should add?
I mean, it was a great experience. It was, I had a little bit of butterflies going into it, but as soon as the bell rang, it all went away, and the hard work and everything just goes through my head, and it comes second nature.
Marques, have you sort of been coaching up your brother on the ins and outs of the pro game? I know you only had one pro fight under your belt, but that's still experience that you got as a pro boxer.
I mean, I told him that, all the hard work and everything that we put in, it just shows, But as soon as the bell rings, it's just gonna come natural. That's how it went to me.
One thing that I noticed that was really impressive. I mean, both of you guys are very tall for your respective weight classes. I believe Dominic 5'10" or 5'11" as a featherweight, if I got it right, and Marques, you're 6 feet tall, fighting as a welterweight. Has it been hard, or how has it been sort of trying to fight so tall at those kinds of weight classes? Does it feel natural? Does it feel good fighting at those weights, or do you feel like there could come a time where you guys might be thinking up down the line, maybe moving up in weight?
I mean, I've always said I control my body, so I'll stay at 126 as long as possible. I feel great at 126. I'm on weight right now, and when I feel like moving up to 130, that's what I'll do.
Right. It's just, I mean, like I said, it all leads back to hard work. As long as you're working hard, you're eating right, you feel good, there's no problems with any weight.
It's just discipline.
Yep.
The pandemic obviously has put a lot of boxers' fight plans, on hold. But for you guys, has it felt like maybe it gave you a chance to sort of focus down even more on the training with COVID just kind of shutting down everything? Does it feel like maybe there were less distractions, or was there maybe an extra obstacle dealing with the restrictions and everything that COVID had to bring?
So honestly, there was no really change for us, because we have the same routines pretty much every day. It's just training. This is what we live for. So there was no distractions before or after. It's just the way of life.
Same thing with you, Dominic.
Yeah, 100%. All we do is train. So no matter what happens, we'll always find a way to make it work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Marques, I remember reading up on you prior to today, and if I remember correctly, if I got this right, you started boxing at 9, and then you stopped, and then returned at 16 years old, and then from there you just went nonstop. Is that kind of how the story goes?
Yeah, I had one fight when I was 9. You know, it's just kind of been in our family, so you know, we just tried it out, and you know, I didn't stick to it just for no reason. You know, I just didn't stick to it. I was a kid, and then later on, you know, like I was constantly watching boxing, you know, watching Cotto fights and all that, and it just like it lit a fire, you know. And it's like I wanted to get in the gym. I pushed my dad. It started off not really as like wanting to fight, but just like let's train boxing. And then as soon as I went to like a regular fitness gym, me and him both, we were like, nah, this is not what we want. We want to fight. We want to make something out of this, and that's what we did.
Dominic, I know you also mentioned Miguel Cotto. How was your sort of start in boxing? Was it also a similar case where you saw Miguel Cotto and it kind of lit a fire under your belly and sort of want to try out boxing?
Yeah, it was like as long as I can remember, I've always loved boxing, and we used to get together at like Cotto fights were like an event, so we would go watch Cotto fights, and I would just watch that, and I don't know what it was. It just like something in me was like that's what I want to do, and since as long as I remember, that's the only thing I've ever wanted to do in my life.
Hearing the crowds cheer for him and him fighting for Puerto Rico, it's like that's exactly what I want, and I know that's what he wants too. You know, it's just that's our dream.
I know exactly what you guys are referring to, because I remember when I was growing up in Puerto Rico, Miguel Cotto fights really was an event. It wasn't something you just go with, you know, you just watch on your own. You invite family, you invite friends. It was like a huge deal. What was kind of your, I guess, favorite Miguel Cotto memories? Because I remember mine especially was the Sergio Martinez fight where he dropped him 3 times in that first round. What about you guys?
My first fight I ever remember watching at Cotto was Zab Judah. That fight, yeah,
I think that was my first recollection of Cotto too, the Zab Judah fight.
Yeah, that got me excited to be a boxer. You know what I mean? The way, especially watching a fight like that is like one of the first fights I can remember. That's the reason I love it so much.
Yeah,
was that a similar case with you, Marques?
One of my like highlights of him was Shane Mosley. When he fought Mosley. I remember thinking back on that, and you know, it just made me like realize like how much of like a warrior he is, you know, and how tough and how he can pull through. You know what I mean? Like it was very motivating and made me feel like the strongness, you know, like he's a bull.
Yeah, I absolutely know what you mean by that. And, you know, Cotto was someone who represented Puerto Rico very, very well, carried, you know, the weight of the nation on his shoulder and represented Puerto Ricans beautifully. How does it feel for you guys to sort of want to carry on, in a way, that legacy of Puerto Rican boxers in the boxing world and just sort of do what Puerto Rico has been doing very well for maybe about a century, is just dominate and perform very well at the highest stages of boxing?
That's kind of what I think we're gonna bring back into boxing. Boxing's been more like it's kind of just been like a personal thing, you know what I mean? Like everybody just wants to look good for themselves. But I know with our styles, we're gonna make fans very, very excited to watch us fight, because we're bringing that old style that the Puerto Ricans used to have. That they would go in there, they're fighting. You would see they would try to take your head off, and then they had like beautiful boxing with it, but you could just tell the goal was to get the opponent out of there.
Right. And we wear the flag on our trunks. We speak very little Spanish, but we wear that flag like it's with pride, you know?
Totally agree with you. My Spanish is not that great, even though I grew up and was born in Puerto Rico and spent there 18 years. I'm not as great in Spanish as I am with English, but it is great sort of seeing that representation for Puerto Rican boxing nowadays. You know, Marques, I know you did some sparring with Jose Ramirez, the current unified junior welterweight champion, and he's got the undisputed title fight against Josh Taylor in May. based on how you've what you've seen from Jose Ramirez, do you sort of have any thoughts or how his fight against Josh Taylor is going to go in May?
I haven't watched too much of Taylor, so I can't really, put too much into it. But I know Ramirez, he's very strong and he's very determined. You can tell he's all about boxing. He's got a goal. So I'll bet money on him. So
Dominic, who do you get a chance to sort of spar with any perhaps notable names, or do you have any sort of training camp stories, in preparation for your pro debut?
Not for my pro debut because all the COVID and everything. I would have got very good sparring here, in Florida and Orlando and stuff like that. But just trying to be on the safe side with COVID, I didn't get to do any of that yet.
I've interviewed boxers who do a number of different things outside the ring. Some do art, some play video games. Some, I remember one time a boxer told me he was making chili and selling it during the pandemic. And I have never really interviewed a boxer, much less two, who does modeling outside the ring. I'm very curious, how did that sort of start out? Because I've never seen, I know I've seen obviously boxers who are obviously good looking enough to be models, but to actually do it, it's rare that I actually get to see that.
Yeah. They found him first. They found Marcus first on Instagram, and they reached out to him and told him that he has a very nice look that they wanted to work with. And eventually they found me. They found out I was his brother, and they're like, "Oh, well, your brother, we like the way he looks too." So and then we started getting modeling jobs. I started getting jobs for Dick's Sporting Goods, Finish Line, and it was unexpected for sure. But I mean, we just went with it.
Has it been hard or any challenge whatsoever juggling the modeling aspects and the boxing aspects of your professional lives?
Honestly, not really. It's like I said, it's what we live for, all the things that we are doing. We wake up thinking about it, going to sleep thinking about it. So, everything's just aligned right.
Boxing's always first. So we always dedicate our life to boxing. And then when things come up, we let them know, yeah, well, we're free. Or if we got a fight coming up, like now, I was supposed to do a modeling job, I think next week or something like that, or this week. And I said I couldn't because boxing. So boxing is always number one on our list.
I'll start with Dominic and then with Marcus. What are you guys' respective goals for 2021? Is there an X amount of fights that you guys want to have under your belt before the year is over, or is it something that you sort of take it one fight at a time and sort of wait and see what comes up?
I mean, we got to take it one fight at a time, no matter what. But I'm hoping that we can get at least 5 or 6 fights by the end of the year, and by the end of 2 years, 10 or 12, and I just want to fight. I just want to show the world what I'm made of.
Yeah, same. It's like you said, I want to get around 5, 6 fights, and win them with looking great and let people know, start putting people on notice on who we are and what we're going to be.
Obviously this will be the first time you guys will share a card together as professional boxers. What message do you guys want to send to the sport is saying the Valle brothers are finally here and ready to take over?
And we're training hard to take everything. We're training hard to win every fight, win every fight convincingly, looking great, and be at the top of the sport.
Yeah, that's it. I'm looking to be the best brothers in boxing history, no doubt, not even a debate. We put in the hard work, and we work harder than anybody I know, and we're to do it together, to put our name out there together. We're gonna show the world something amazing.
Lastly, I mean, we'll start with Marcus and then end with Dominic. I mean, not a lot of people. This will be really the first time a lot of people will get a chance to sort of see really both of you guys. But Marcus, how would you sort of describe yourself as a boxer? Do you have sort of maybe a comparison to someone as a pro, or do you kind of have your own little style that you can't really equate it to any other boxer?
I mean, from what I've been told, like since I started, the people have been telling me that I have a similar style to Tito Trinidad. So I would say around there. You know, I don't get tired. I hit hard. I'm smart. You know, so that's more toward that's more what I'm leaning towards.
And what about you, Dominic?
I'm definitely like a boxer puncher. Like I know I'm unbelievably strong for my weight, and I'll be surprised if somebody can take my punch at 126. There's no doubt about that.
Well, Dominic and Marques, thank you so much for taking time to talk to me. Best of luck to the both of you guys on March 12th in Florida, and best of luck to for the rest of your career. Hope you guys get the win. Hope you guys definitely get your careers off and going, and both in boxing and in modeling. So,
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.